Hi, this is Andy from Edelweiss Interactive, and this video is about texture atlas assets in the Decal System Pro. With the free version of the Decal System, you only have the option to use built-in texture atlas types. That means all the UV rectangles that you see over here are directly stored within your Decal's instance. So within this guy over here. That means it's quite hard to exchange texture atlases between different Decal's instances. The situation is a lot simpler if you use texture atlas assets, because they are actually stored like, for instance, a prefab or a texture, and you can just pick it and tell your Decal's instance, please use that particular texture atlas. So first of all, let me show you how to create them. You go to Assets, Create, and select Texture Atlas. This creates you a new file, and you have basically the same options that you also have when you select a Decal's instance over here. You can specify everything. So let's go back to the asset. In here you can select which material you want to use, and you simply can add UV rectangles and specify your regions, so this is the conventional way to do it. But with the assets you also have the option to use tiling, so you can, for instance, have a 3x2 tiling over your texture. That means you have a grid with 3x2 textures that are evenly distributed, and then you just specify, okay, I want to have a 3x2 texture, or I'm using that, please create the UV rectangles for it, and click on initialize. So let's open this one again, and as you see, we have now a 1, 2, 3 1, 2, 3 and 1, 2, 3. So we have a 3x2 texture grid now. So there's a lot of situations where this is just handy to accelerate your workflow. And the last option you have is you can specify, I have already created, for instance, this Decal's instance here. Please just pick all the UV rectangles from that one and add them to my list. So you drag the Decal's instance over here and tell it initialize, and it automatically copies all the UV rectangles over here. So now let's see how to use them. To see a difference, actually, we add another UV rectangle and we call it new, and give it a certain section, just any section you want. And now let's go on, or put that one. So now let's switch over to this Decal's instance, and now instead of using the built-in one, we select reference, and this turns all our or the whole mesh purple, because we have nothing specified yet. So we pick the just created texture atlas asset and drop it in here, and we are back to the original situation. And now we can create, just to show you that we are actually using the assets we have created, I am going to add another projector. I'll show it over here, and as you see now, we have the new UV rectangle as an option, and you see it's the correct section. So we are at the moment really using the texture atlas. So that's quite handy to exchange them. You also have the option now to say, okay, I don't want to use a reference. I actually prefer the built-in one, because when I use the reference, I can never be sure what's going on, or if I change it, then it may destroy a certain Decal's instance. So in that case, you can say, okay, let's apply the whole atlas And now we are back to the built-in one, but we got the new UV rectangle in here as well. And let me show you one thing where you have to be very careful. When you have a projector, you always have that drop down. And the order of those UV rectangles is essential. So when you make any modification in a texture atlas asset, take care that you don't change the order. So let's, for instance, change sector 5 and exit. Or let's change it in here quickly. So we have now exit as the first one and sector 5 as the second one. If we go to our decals instance and use the reference, now you can see what happens. We have now the wrong order. Where we originally had sector 5 is now exit. So this is obviously not what you want, so always take care that you are not changing the order within a texture atlas asset. So if we go back, I have now changed it back. When I now switch to the decals instance again and click on update all projectors, it's back to normal as we want to have it. That's all for this. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.